So I want to tell you some things. I want to give you 6 things to really encourage you guys and hopefully inspire you and motivate you about real estate. So the first thing I want to tell you guys is that, you know, in my years of doing this, my 23 years of owning and managing real estate, I found that knowledge is very, very powerful. Okay. The more information you have, the better decisions that you can ultimately make with real estate. Go to the conferences, sign up for the seminars, sign up for the workshops, join the local real estate groups, right? Join the Facebook groups, because the more information you know, the better. Because ultimately, you're going to find what is your niche in this real estate. There's so many directions you can go in real estate. There's tons of directions. You have to find what works for you and is best for you based on your risk tolerance, based on your personality, based on what you like, don't like, can tolerate, can't tolerate. All those things matter, and everybody's different. So everybody's personality can be met through real estate based on what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy, etc. Get as much information as you can so you can make those wise decisions in general when it comes to real estate. And the other thing is, don't forget to learn some things about the law in your area, wherever you plan to buy real estate. Understand what the laws are. And when you're in real estate, you're going to see contracts all the time. Whether it's a lease or whether it's, you're buying a property or whatever it may be, you're going to see contracts. You need to know whatever you read and sign better than anybody else, right? So you need to have that information, know the laws. And if you want to get into the buy and hold strategy, be sure you know the landlord-tenant laws in your area. Super duper important, okay? The worst thing you can have is a landlord who doesn't know the law, right? Because that landlord ends up messing up a lot of things, and then sometimes if you're not careful as a landlord, you're going to run into a tenant that knows the law better than you, right? You don't want that. Now, I've talked a lot about managing your own property. You can always get a property manager, okay? That's always an option. If you don't want to deal with people, if you don't like people necessarily, then you can always get somebody to manage your property. But just remember this, if you get a property management company, you still have to manage the property management company, right? Because they're going to, you got to make sure they're doing the right things as well. So just something to think about. Number one was, get information, as much information as you can, and know the laws. The second thing I want to impress upon you guys is that when you buy real estate, whether you're flipping, you're wholesaling, whatever you're doing, make sure you treat it like a business, okay? It's very important that you understand that this is a business. So you want to have connects with an attorney. You want to have connects with a CPA. You want to have processes and SOPs, or standard operating procedures, that are written down. You want to have the requirements in order to get into your property written down. Very important that you use a separate bank account. Research whether or not you want to form an LLC or an S corp. Treat it like a business, because it is a business. You are a business, okay? And therefore, I want you guys to think about that, because a lot of times what happens is you get people that get in real estate and they look at it as a hobby. And when you look at it as a hobby, then you're going to make hobby money, and you're going to be a hobby type. And so not that hobby money is bad, okay? I'm not saying that. But I'm saying, if you're in it to make money, then treat it like a business. If you're in it to just provide housing for your family, then okay, that's one thing, right? But if you want to make money at it and make it profitable, then you need to look at it as business, because businesses are profitable. And then you have things in place that make it feel like a business. Third thing I want to tell you guys is, some of you are going to, and some of you have run across this. The best way to learn about real estate is to do real estate. Okay, it's not to hem and haw and ride the fence, because I run across people almost every single day who say, I was thinking about getting into real estate a few years back. And then I'll see them again a year from now. I was thinking about getting into real estate. And everybody can probably relate to this, because you got people that you got friends, families, whoever, and they say, man, I was thinking about getting, and they told you back in 1993 they was thinking about getting real estate, and they still thinking about it. Listen. If you want to learn how to do something, you got to actually do it. You got to take some risk. You got to punch fear in the face, and you got to go for it. You got to step out on that limb. One of the things that holds most people back from making money in real estate is because they just talk. They don't do. They don't get out there and learn. You can't make money if you're operating in fear. You got to be smart, but you got to take some chances. Okay, you got to step out on a limb. Again, the more information you get, you're going to make better decisions. You're going to feel more comfortable making those mistakes and things that might mess you up. But that's okay. Everybody makes mistakes in real estate. I've made many, many, many mistakes in real estate, but every mistake wasn't a failure. It was a learning opportunity. Okay, because I didn't repeat it. Of course, you want to minimize your risk. And again, the more information you have, you minimize your risk, but you cannot operate in real estate in fear, because you're going to find yourself scared to make a choice, scared to do this, scared, and scared people don't make money in real estate. Okay, they just don't. You gotta again, you gotta take that fear and you gotta put it to the side and you gotta go out and do it. You gotta sign that paperwork, whatever it takes to do. Okay, the next thing I want to tell you guys is you want to also know who you are, because again, wholesaling is not for everybody. Flipping a house is not for everybody. Being a landlord is not for everybody. So you got to kind of know where you fit in the game. That's going to come with time, what you're comfortable with, right? As you get started in this thing. Some people just don't want to deal with contractors or become a project manager and flip a house over the course of 2 or 3 months, 3 or 4 months. Some people hate dealing with unforeseen conditions, right? But if you flip in a house, guess what? You're going to pull a wall down and you're going to find a rat's nest behind the wall. Some people don't like dealing with, that type of stuff. I just had that happen at one of my properties 6 months ago. I had bees on the inside of the house. We pulled out a piece of drywall, whole bee's nest on the inside of the home. My tenant didn't even tell me. They just never went in the room and covered it up. And when they moved out, it was a big old, in the corner of the room, was a big old bee's nest right there. And so we had to take the wall down and so forth. But again, if you don't like dealing with those type of, things, then maybe you get a property management company to do things for you. But you'll learn yourself through this process, that's for sure. So, but just remember, everything is not for everybody. The next thing is this. Learn, and I said it before, but I'll kind of reiterate, learn as much as you can about how a house works, about how a house operates. Learn about how a house is pieced together, how to examine a roof, how to do your own due diligence, okay? Whatever home you ever buy to invest in, you're going to do an inspection, and there's going to be an inspector that comes out and all that good stuff, right? But as an investor in this game, you have to learn to be able to do your own due diligence on a property minus an inspector, okay, as much as possible. I'm not saying you have to be an expert plumber or an expert electrician. That's not what I'm telling you. But I am saying you have to be able to look at a home and say, is this home worth it? Is this home something that I can actually invest in and make money in? Okay, you have to be able to look at the bones of a home and know what you're looking for. And again, this is going to come over time, but you got to know whether or not you need to move forward on a home or not, because you save so much time in this game by being able to look at a piece of property and say no. Because if you got to look at a piece of property and you got to go in and get a full-blown inspection on every single piece of property, you're going to be out a lot of money. You're going to be out a lot of time. Okay. So to save time and to save money, learn as much as you can about what to look for on a home in order to make a decision. You need to be at the point, almost to the point where you can walk through a home, take a piece of paper and a pencil or pen and a flashlight and almost estimate the types of things you're going to need on a property, the potential repairs. Now, again, you're always on anything you're serious about going to get a full-blown inspection, right? That's just common sense, makes good common sense. But I'm telling you to be sure to learn some things about how a home actually operates and how to do your own due diligence on certain things. You need to learn what to look for. You need to learn what to hear. You need to learn what to smell in a home, right? Because sometimes you can walk in a home and you can spot cat urine. It's going to be difficult for you to get out of that carpet. You can walk in a home and smell cigarette smoke that might be a lingering smell that might be in the walls and in the drywall. So you need to be able to look at a home and say, okay, let me take off this wall plate, this electricity plate. Let me see what kind of wiring is. Is this old knob and tube wiring in this home or not? You got to look and see. You got to be able to look and say, let me raise this window up and put this window down. Is that how it's supposed to go? I mean, I'm telling you real practical things, right? But these are things that you should be able to understand and look for when you go to a home. You should be able to walk up to a home on the outside of the home and look at the foundation or look at the grading around the home. Are the gutters draining away from the home properly over a certain length of space? Because I can look at a home right now and I can tell you if the basement's flooding just by how everything's set up, just by the outside of the home. I can tell you how it's leaning, how it's not leaning, what the roof line looked like, if there's dips in the roof, whether or not the soffit is messed up, how the gutters are hanging, how's that draining away from the home. Just by looking at the home, you got to be able to do that up front, because you got to know when, you don't want to waste your time and money. The next thing I'm gonna mention to you guys is I'm gonna encourage you guys to as you go through the process here, consider keeping some homes for yourself for the buy and hold strategy. I'm gonna put a little plug in for the buy and hold strategy, because I know you're here because you want to invest in real estate, and I just want to encourage you guys that to kind of keep going. There's a lot of perks when it comes to the buy and hold real estate, but there's going to be roadblocks, there's going to be bumps, there's going to be obstacles, there's going to be things you're going to run across that is going to make you want to quit, make you not want to do this anymore. But I just want you to remember the pros of what you're doing, okay? And you got to always look at that during this process, right? You can write off the interest, right? If you have a buy and hold strategy home that you're holding for rental. If you're about to retire, I got some homes, and those houses are going to be excellent because they're going to give me, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month when I retire from my job. It's also great to have real estate because you diversify your portfolio. You're not all, okay. We know the stock market, I don't know if you guys know, but the stock market's been down, right? I've lost 70, 80, $100,000 in the stock market in the last 6 months to a year. But at the same time, I gained, 30, 40, $50,000 in appreciation on my houses because of the market value of real estate. So in other words, when you have real estate, you're able to diversify your portfolio. You don't get hit if the stock market's way down. You don't lose all your money because you got this real estate over here. So the other great thing is when you have buy and hold rent real estate, as inflation goes up, your rents go up. So the home that I was renting out for $300 or $500 a month 15 years ago, that house rents for $1,500 now. I'm not hurt when inflation goes up, because as inflation goes up, I raise the rents on my property as well. So shelter never goes out of style, guys. And you guys know this. So everybody needs a place to stay. Everybody will always need a roof over their head. And so you've always got a commodity that's in demand when you own buy and hold real estate. Okay. So it's good to have some of those in your portfolio. I don't know if you plan to have that, but if you don't, please consider it. So many pros to having it. So if there is a recession, we know how much in demand real estate can always be in a recession. Okay, so if we do have a recession and people start losing jobs, and right now the unemployment rate is at a 50-year low. It's 3.5% at the last jobs report, right? But unemployment can go up. And the Federal Reserve hopes it goes up, by the way. So we know that the Federal Reserve wants unemployment to go up. Because if unemployment goes up, that means businesses are laying people off. And if businesses are laying people off, that's good. That means demand for their products and services are going down. And when demand goes down, prices go down. So the Federal Reserve, they never come out and say this, right? They're not going to come out and say this, but they always want the unemployment rate to kind of go up a little bit. It also means less people that have less purchasing power when less people have jobs. Right? And so that means less people can buy goods and services, and so the prices go down. So anyway, but real estate in the middle of all that is really good to have in a recessionary period because, guys, again, it is a place to stay. And I don't care what happens in the stock market or any other of the markets, labor market, etc. People always need a place to lay their head. So real estate is always good to have, especially when the economy is bad or things are going bad. So that's kind of my piece on that. That yes, we could have a recession. Okay, and I mean and not just the textbook version of a recession, right? The textbook version of a recession is just 2 straight quarters of a down GDP. Well, we had that back in 2022, but it wasn't a full blown recession because employment was still strong. Inflation was still really high, but employment was really strong and everybody was working. So we don't know if it's going to be a recession, but guess what? If there is a recession and you got some real estate, boom. Now, the other good thing I want to say about that is that you can pass along real estate, right? The buy and hold real estate you can pass it along. Generational wealth is created from real estate, right? You can put your real estate in a trust, and you can make sure that if something happens to you, it becomes somebody else's, your niece, your nephew, your child. You got to make sure you think about it in those terms as well. That it can be something that can last for years and years and years down the road. Remember that home that I said my mother-in-law gifted us through an assumption loan? That home that she gifted us through an assumption loan back in 2000, and I said it was about worth $30,000. Today, that same home is worth about $140,000. Okay. And you say, well, that's 23 years later. That took a while, right? But of course, that's through the bottom of 2008, 2009, 2011, when the bottom dropped off, right? But that same home is worth $140,000 on the open market today. That's the power of the buy and hold strategy. Okay. That's the power of buying a piece of property, keeping it for a while. And guess what? It's not going to go back down to $30,000. It's probably going to go up to 170, 180. Who knows in the next 10 years, 10 years. So my point is again, that appreciation is super important. Hey guys, I offer one-on-one financial mentoring and coaching. If you're looking to grow your current income by adding multiple streams of income, or you want to maximize the current income that you have and get the most out of your money right now, or simply become a better manager of your money, a better steward over your current finances, I might be a good fit for you. Or if you're looking to get into the real estate game, perhaps buy properties, perhaps even manage the properties that you have right now better, or simply grow a real estate portfolio. I've got 22 years of owning and managing my own real estate, so I can definitely help you in that area as well. You'll find a link to my schedule below. Feel free to reach out to me, guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.